Hi, my loves. Happy Wednesday. So today we are going to continue our learning so far this week, interpreting fractions as division. But today we're going to take a look at how that relates to word problems or to real world examples. So let's jump into our whiteboard. All right, so I'm going to go to the whiteboard that you guys can see a little bit easier in a few examples. But I do want us to do 2 examples all together just because I feel like it's a little bit easier to understand when you can see me walking it through. So our first word problem says, 8 tons of gravel is being equally shared between 4 dump trucks. How much gravel will each truck get? Now, just like when we tackle word problems in class, the first thing we're going to do is reread, and we're going to listen for and box those key numbers and terms. So we have 8 tons of gravel is being equally shared between 4 dump trucks. How much gravel will each truck get? So I'm going to take a second here, and I'm going to box what I think is important information. So I'm going to box 8 tons is being equally shared between 4 dump trucks. And then I'm going to underline how much gravel will each truck get. Now, I boxed and underlined all of that information for a few reasons. First off, 8 tons of gravel is really important because if that's what's being shared, I know that 8 tons is my total. So something is happening with this 8 tons of gravel. Then it says that it's being equally shared. Equally shared is a really important phrase here because that tells me right away that I'm dividing. If something is being equally shared, I know right away I'm dividing. Between 4 dump trucks, that tells me what I'm dividing to. So my groups here are going to be 4 dump trucks. How much gravel will each truck get? That's important because that's telling me that I'm looking for how much is one truck going to get, how much is each truck going to get. So now to determine our operation or our number sentence, I'm going to go back to the problem and think about what's happening here. We know that one of the first questions we ask ourselves in a word problem is, do I know my total? Do I know the total amount of something that I have? And I do. I know that I'm starting with 8 tons. So 8 is going to be my total. And then I'm thinking to myself, what's happening with that 8 tons of gravel? I know that it's being equally shared, so I'm dividing. And I'm thinking to myself, what am I dividing it among? What am I dividing it into? And we're dividing it into those 4 dump trucks. So my number sentence is going to be 8 divided by 8 divided by 4. Now this is pretty simple to solve, and I want you to think about how this would look as a fraction, because that's what we've been looking for the last few days, is a pattern. Some of you have noticed that if we could rewrite 8 divided by 4 as 8 over 4, which is the same thing as 8 divided by 4, most of us should know that. It's a basic fact, but we could also divide like this. 8 divided by 4 is going to give me 2. Let's go back to our question to determine what does that 2 mean. How much gravel will each truck get? Each truck is going to get 2 tons of gravel. The most important step with these word problems is really thinking about what is happening in the word problem, what is my total, do I know my total, and what is happening to what I have. That's going to help us come up with this number sentence. All right, let's try another example. All right, we're ready for another example. This example says 5 pounds of rice is being shared among 2 bags equally. How much rice will be in each bag? Same thing, I'm going to read it again. I'm going to box my key numbers and terms. Anything that I think is important. 5 pounds of rice is being shared among 2 bags equally. How much rice will be in each bag? I'm going to box 5 pounds. That tells me how much rice I have to start with. It's telling me my total amount of rice is being shared among 2 bags. That's telling me that this rice is going into 2 bags. So it's being put into 2 bags. That's my groups. I have 2 groups. Equally is important, and I'm also going to box shared. Once again, shared equally You should have a little light going off in your head. Ding, 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 division, ding, 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 division. If something is being shared equally and I know my total, that tells me right away I'm dividing. How much rice will be in each bag? So I'm going to underline that. Tells me that I'm looking for how much rice is in one bag. Remember that word each means one. So we're going to follow those same steps. We're going to come up with a number sentence first. So I'm thinking about what is happening in this problem. Well, I know I'm starting with 5 pounds of rice. So 5 is going to be my total. That's how much I'm starting with. And now I'm thinking, okay, what's happening with the rice? It's being put into, equally put into, which means I'm dividing, equally put into 2 bags. So my number sentence here is going to be 5 divided by 2. Now there's a few ways that we can figure this out. On Monday, we learned how to solve this visually. So we could go back to the strategy we learned on Monday. My total is 5. We can draw 5 rectangular models. I'm splitting each model up into 2. So each rectangular model would represent a pound of rice. So this half of a pound is going to go into a bag, the same as this half a pound, same as this half a pound, same as this half a pound. It's all going into one bag. So that tells me that in one bag, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 halves are all going to go into one bag. And the other 5 halves are going to go into a separate bag. So we could solve that way. For those of us who are more comfortable with a tape diagram, we could also solve using a tape diagram, thinking about how that would look. For a tape diagram, we know that our total would be 5. So I'm going to label my total as 5. I have 5 pounds of rice I'm starting with. And then I'm just going to split that rice into 2 groups. 1, 2 bags or 2 groups. So I need to figure out how much is going to be in one bag. So we could do 5 divided by 2. I know 5 divided by 2, I would be able to put 2 pounds in each bag. And I'm going to have 1 pound left over. And then we need to think about, okay, what am I going to have to do with that last pound? That last pound, I'm going to have to split up. I can't just put the whole pound into a bag. So each bag is going to get 2 1/2 of a pound. With that remaining 1, I can split that up. So we're going to get 2 1/2. I know that's a little tricky. We'll do that a few more times in our whiteboard. So each bag of rice is going to have 2 1/2 pounds, or 5 halves of a pound. All right, let's move to our other whiteboard. All right, so here we have another example. It says a 3-meter ribbon is cut into 4 equal pieces to make flowers. What is the length of each piece? Same thing, I'm going to read it a second time, boxing my key numbers and terms. Thinking really about what is happening in this problem so we can come up with our number sentence. A 3-meter ribbon is cut into 4 equal pieces to make flour. What is the length of each piece? All right, so I'm going to box a 3-meter ribbon. I box that because that tells me what I'm starting with. I'm starting with 3 meters of ribbon. It's cut into 4 equal pieces. 4 equal pieces is really important because it's telling me what's happening to the ribbon. It's being split up into 4 equal pieces. And then I'm going to underline what is the length of each piece. Each is once again a key word because that tells me we're looking for 1 piece. Now here, I really need to think about what is happening to help me determine my operation. So I'm thinking about, I have some ribbon. That ribbon's being cut into 4 equal pieces. So that tells me right away that I know I'm dividing. if something's being cut into equal sized pieces, it's being put into groups. Now I'm thinking about what my total is. What am I starting with? I'm starting with 3 meters. And it's being cut into 4 pieces. So my total is 3. And then I have 4 groups. 3 divided by 4 is my number sentence. Now there's a few ways that we can solve that. Remember, it's really important. I know some of you might be ready just to tell me right away that's 3/4. Some of you might have noticed that pattern, but it's really important that you can show me a visual, you can draw me a picture, and there's a few ways you can show me how to solve. We can go back once again to what we learned on Monday, which means I'm going to go ahead and draw 3 boxes, each box representing a meter. So I have my 3 boxes of ribbon. I'm going to cut those 3 meters into 4ths because I have 4 groups. So a way to think about that is that, all right, now each meter of ribbon, this meter's going to go to one set of flowers. This meter is going to go to another set of flowers. This piece is going to go to another set of flowers. And this piece is going to go to another set of flowers. Then we're going to do the same thing with the next meter. This is going to go to one group of flowers. This is going to another group of flowers. This is going to another group of flowers. This is going to another group of flowers. We'll do that one more time. This piece is going to a group of flowers. This piece is going to a group of flowers. This piece is going to a group of flowers. And this piece is going to a group of flowers. So then we're looking for what is the length of each piece, or what would be the length of one piece. Well, let's look. How much red do we have? We have 1, 2, we have 1, 2, 3 red pieces, and each piece is 1/4. So we have 3/4. So each length of ribbon would be 3/4 of a meter. So that's one way that we can solve. That's pictorially, or us solving visually. For those of us who are ready, let's take a look, or who are more comfortable with tape diagrams, let's take a look at how that would look with a tape diagram. So I know my total is 3. So my total is 3 meters. And I'm taking those 3 meters and I'm cutting it up among 4 flowers. So this would be flower 1, flower 2, flower 3, flower 4. So I'm trying to figure out the length of one piece of ribbon that's going to one flower. So we could use our standard algorithm to solve that. 3 divided by 4. If I have 3, I can't make any groups of 4. So that's going to leave me a 3 left over. And then remember, we can turn this into a fraction of 3/4. 3/4. Remember, not being able to make any groups means that I'm not going to put a whole meter of ribbon into any of my flowers. I don't have enough. So I'm going to have to put 3/4 of a meter of ribbon. So those are a few strategies we can use. All right, y'all. Now I know that these word problems can be tricky, so we're going to do a few examples in the chat together as well before you go to your seesaw practice. If you feel confident, you can go ahead and start your seesaw practice, but we are going to be doing a few examples together in the chat for those of you who might need a little bit extra help.